vigilance is in fact yielding results. Within the last month, for example, a very alert officer, Carlton Duncan, apprehended a male at the ferry terminal who was armed with a 3.57 revolver and 5 rounds of ammunition. That person has since been tried and sentenced to 3 years in prison. We have had training at the Caribbean Drug Law Enforcement Training Center in Jamaica so as to enhance our forces' capabilities to crack down on the importation, export, storage, and distribution of illegal narcotics as an 8th important development. 9th, arrests have been made in some of the recent and very troubling killings that we've had. And 10th, on the social intervention front of crime avoidance, the YES project now serves over 1,000 trainees. There are 41 trainers operating over 50 teaching sites. Administrators report the emergence of clear entrepreneurial ambitions amongst the trainee corps, with guidance on starting one's business increasingly being sought by them. The government once again invites companies, organizations, and individuals to be a part of this very crucial nation-building exercise by contacting Mr. Elvis Newton, the Deputy Chair of the program, at the telephone number 467-1108. That is 467-1108. Or, of course, one can make contact with Mr. Wilkin at the National Skills Training Center. As an 11th observation, I also mention our own collaboration with the European Union, with the FBI, with the regional security system, and with other international entities, and this is in fact continuing. And as a 12th observation, I would say significantly the nation's upgraded and considerably expanded 2009 to 2011 policing plan has just been handed over to me and has been therefore launched, I would say, to the public. Let me look, secondly, at renewable energy and the challenges that we have. I have spoken in the past about our own renewable energy initiatives vis-à-vis the North Star wind farm, the geothermal operation on the island, the sister island of Nevis, and so on. Because it is the goal of this government to attain a 75% renewable energy profile by the year 2015. My government is now working in collaboration with the Organization of American States to review the relevant technical documents and to draft the pertinent agreements and laws governing wind energy generation on St. Kitts, our overriding objective being to reduce the cost of energy for the people of our federation. Permit me to say a few words on tourism. In closing, I want to note that my government's efforts to fight the economic effects of the traditional low season in tourism have been bearing fruits. It has long been a priority of ours to stimulate the type of international traffic that would permit our craft vendors, our taxi drivers, and others who depend on tourism to generate revenue streams all year round. I am very pleased to report that cruise passenger arrivals for this year, 2009, are already up by 10% over the same period compared to last year. And indeed, our cruise arrivals in June of this year were some 30% over that of June of last year. This is very significant because this is the exact opposite of what one would expect during this time of the year, during normal circumstances. And this is certainly the opposite of what one would expect at a time of global economic challenges. However, we are aware that hotel occupancies are low at this time, and that we will need to continue working very closely with all tourism stakeholders to drive hotel business to our own destination here in St. Kitts and Nevis. In addition, I must mention that 11 restaurants that are not affiliated with hotels, but which all service both the local and the tourism markets and represent sources of employment for locals, have been granted duty-free access to food and wine imports for the period of 1 year, beginning July the 1st of 2009. They were also granted a one-time clearance to import needed restaurant furniture, equipment, and fittings. Finally, an operating agreement has been signed with Camper and Nicholson's Marinas to operate the Cockleshell Marina, with work scheduled to begin in January 2010 at the Southeast Peninsula. Although I said finally, I think I want to say a few words about our financial services sector, and permit me please to do so, members of the press. As many of you would know, countries involved in financial services are considered to be on a so-called black, grey, or white list based on their degree of cooperation with the OECD dictates regarding tax information exchange agreements. St. Kitts and Nevis committed itself to the OECD Harmful Practices Project as long ago as back in 2002. Plus, we are also currently negotiating tax information exchange agreements with the Nordic countries, the Netherlands, Antilles, Australia, Canada, Aruba and the Netherlands, and New Zealand. As a result, St. Kitts and Nevis, as you know, is not among those countries unfortunate enough to have been placed on what is strangely called the blacklist. At any rate, one of the key objectives of my government is the establishment of double taxation agreements that would prevent foreign nationals who invest here from also being taxed in their own countries. And I am pleased to report, because of the impact that this will have on our own ability to continue to attract foreign investors, that a number of the above-mentioned countries have already offered to enter into supplemental agreements to this effect. Permit me to end with local empowerment. The placing of property in the hands of ordinary locals and providing the funding for their children to obtain a university education remain non-negotiable priorities of this administration. As a result, we have done exponentially more than any government in the history of this country to empower the people in this particular way. You should know that maintaining this focus during the first 6 months of this year alone, my government has already provided some $5 million in development bank loans to our young people in the form of some 80 loans. And just 1 week ago, yet another 250 house lots were made available under the Special Land Development Initiative. This in addition to some 118 lots also recently released in the Boyce area, in the Keys Village, and in the Newton Ground area. Let me emphasize that as these new sites with new lots being made available and the allocations are being made, other new sites will come on stream so that we would be able eventually to reach our target of the distribution of some 5,000 housing lots from this special land distribution initiative at very reasonable concessionary prices and under very lucrative circumstances. Members of the press, these are some of the key points I wish to raise with you this month, and I will now take, of course, your questions, if there is any question that you have.